our guest speaker for tonight. I'm sure most people know Lisa DeMayo, one of the most incredible trainers that I know. And I'll say this, and Lisa has an incredible bio. 20 personally executives is one of the highlights and bullet points, but she is a trained speaker coach. She has been hired by some of the most premier companies to train their sales force. When she steps on stage, you're riveted and captivated. And what she drops in terms of genius is next level, off the charts. And she's hilarious while doing it. She's one of the funniest people. But when I saw her on stage, I just said, oh my gosh, if she's doing this, I'm doing this. All the way to the moon, because that's where she went. So I remember hearing her say that her neighbor laughed and thought she was the top of the pyramid. And I just thought, man, I hope someday somebody thinks I'm at the top of the pyramid. And with that, Lisa, let me just bring you on and just give you the floor here so we can just hear a little bit. Will you just give people a quick backstory on how you walked into Isagenix?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I know all you guys, so I feel like I'm home. So good to see you. So yeah, I was in another company and I kind of stumbled on that company, and I was the fastest ever in the history of that company to get to the top. And the top was being at a level where you had produced the most amount of directs to equal your rank. And I had done that. And, everybody always we look at each other and humans just judge. And people just thought, I got really lucky. What they didn't realize was that I had almost 20 plus years of leadership development and was being trained. Go IU. I don't know, they're really bad right now. And you must be happy because Purdue's crushing it. We're just like, can't get our groove on. I know, Holly. We'll come back. So, I had so much experience in leadership development before anybody knew what life coaching was. Nobody knew what life coaching was back in the, early 90s. And I was flying to places to be trained, years of it. And I I didn't really know what it was even called. I just knew that I wanted something different in my life. And I went through a really hard time in my teen years into my early 20s. I was just helping my son with just college stuff, getting ready. And I say, and he's just having one of those days. He's 17. And I said, dude, when I think back at your age, at this moment in time, I didn't fill out an application yet. I had no idea where I was going to go. My father was dying in my living room because my mother didn't want to put him in hospice. He died the day before I turned 18, May 10th. I turned 18, May 11th. It was Mother's Day. I graduated from high school 2 weeks later, and my mother said, we're losing our house. I can't afford this. There's no such thing as college. If you want to go to college, you need to figure it out. And years of therapy and and there was just other stuff. And I was like, why do I have to rehash everything I already lived? I want to move forward. And that's how I began my coaching career, and had done coaching for a really long time in financial institutions. I had a business for a long time. I worked with CEOs. I worked on a lot of leadership development and team building. And I was doing this kind of in the nooks and crannies because I was so young. So for people who join network marketing and they're really young, I felt intimidated to coach somebody who was older. Like, what is this kid going to teach me? And I really had to work to overcome that. And I got an amazing job in pharmaceuticals, which I think was probably the best training on the planet. And then I got married and had kids and was burning the candle at both ends. And I wanted something different. And in the coaching rooms, I had met so many network marketers. So I knew about it. I had gone to enough meetings to know about it. And I would sit in the back of the room. Back in the day, I don't know if we have any New York City people here, but back in the day on the streets of New York City, you would go to the Learning Annex. And there were these workshops, and you could go in and you could learn how to do anything and be anything. And I would look up different network marketing companies. It's so funny that this is my career because it was just so organic. I'd look up these network marketing companies and I'd go sit in the back of the room and I'd buy the product to go to the events and I'd watch the speakers and I'd watch their pacing and I'd listen to their delivery and I would pay attention to how they interacted with the audience. I wasn't so interested in the vehicle. I was interested in becoming the coach. And then I realized, well, if you're going to be the next female Tony Robbins, you can't really be a mom at the same time. You're going to live on the road. And I was kind of figuring it out. And then I got involved in pharmaceuticals. I was still doing a ton of coaching work. And I hated it. I was trading time for money. I missed my kids. I had a 2 and a 4-year-old sleeping on the floor in a daycare, leaving when it was dark, coming home when it was dark. Somebody handed me a used bag of skincare. 5 months later, I was at the top of the company. I shattered every single record. I was on the cover of Empowering Women magazine. They were flying me all over. I was training, I was teaching, and I'm like, right industry, wrong home. I forgot to ask about the compensation plan. I'm like boxed in selling skincare to basically women ages 35 to 50. I'm leaving an entire demographic on the table. What was I thinking? For 2 years, and then I met this woman, and I remember I tapped her on the shoulder. It was Lynn Klaus, and I said, "Hey, I know you. You're the girl that raises my bar." Because if I was number one, she was number two, and she was number, like we were always neck and neck. And she said, "Do you want to go hang out?" We went, and it was Laguna Beach. We sat on a bench, and I said, "I'm miserable. I'm miserable. I'm like a big fraud. My marriage is falling apart. I married the wrong person. I don't want to be in this company. I don't even like the people I'm with. Like, what am I?" And she just said, "Oh my gosh, me too."
Mm.
And I don't know why I confessed to her. I didn't even know her, but we held hands on that bench, Laguna Beach, overlooking the ocean. And we made a commitment. We were going to find a home. And for 2 years and tens of thousands of dollars later, we researched compensation plans. We looked at companies. We interviewed people. And everybody kept saying, there is one company that you should check out. It's a small company. It just started. The name is Isagenix. It's about a $150 million company. And here's all the reasons why you should take a look. And 2 years later, we dotted all the I's, we crossed the T's. That's why when people jump ship, I have to laugh. I'm like, do they even know what they're looking for? We hired a compensation plan expert. I think it was like $35,000 a day. We paid that to look at compensation plans because he said, "Hey, listen, if I'm going to sit with you, I could be sitting with a company who's asking me to write a comp plan. Here's what I get paid." And there were a bunch of us, and we researched and we looked and we wanted to know about products and ingredients and global expansion and compensation plan breakage and all the stuff that I didn't know to ask about. And by the time, well, Lynn went first, and she called me July 4th weekend, and I was on the speaker circuit. And I'll never forget, it was like 110 degrees. It was 4th of July weekend. I'm in Target parking lot. The cart is like this. I'm having a 4th of July party. And she said, "I left." And I was so angry. I'm like, "I'm not ready yet. Why would you do this? Like, we had this plan. I'm going to the UK next week. Then I'm in Canada. And then I'm in Australia. And I'm on the speaking circuit. And I'm not ready." And I wouldn't talk to her. I was so angry. And then I just called and I was like, "All right, I'm going to go meet this Kathy Coover." And I flew to Arizona. I walked out. I had one more event that I was committed to do. I sat on the plane and I wrote my resignation letter. And I said, "I, Lisa DeMayo, resign from this company immediately." And I left my income on the table. It was $500,000 a year. I had no money. I had no time to go build a coaching business. My coach and my mentor of 10 years had just died of pancreatic cancer. I was going through a divorce and I had to make it work. My hair was falling out of my head. I was freaked out. I was yelling at everybody, how could you let me leave a company with that kind of money? Now I'm starting over, and I had to do it every day with a smile. And I set my butt down and I did it. It was grit. And now everybody sees, oh, she's made, over, I don't even know what it is at this $15 million, whatever it is. There's so much money, and she's done this and she's done that. And they always ask her to speak. And now she's working with Sharon. And nobody really knows the backstory of how I got here. And I will tell you guys this, it is a business. It is a business like every other business. But here's the thing about our industry. It took us 100 years to get to $190 billion. And in the next 6 years, we are projected to be a $330 billion industry. We will go through another set of ups and downs. It's cyclical. I remember years ago talking to the former CEO, before this CEO, before that CEO, in a fire pit in Arizona. And I said, what's going to happen when you stop selling the skyrocketing, we're on this growth curve and we're going nowhere but up, because it will come down. You don't sell that. You sell the product in the bag. You sell the community. You sell the compensation plan. You're doing it all wrong. And he said, you're crazy. We are going nowhere but up. And I'm like, and I don't want to say his name, but him, Jess. And I was like, no, we will implode. There will be a correction. Every single company that has lasted this long will have a correction. And it is the best thing that can happen, because we will be tested. And it's really the people who are meant to do it will stay. The complainers will leave. The people who wear a mask will leave. The people who built a business on hype and now think they're celebrities on social media will leave. The coaches will leave, and they will bounce around from company to company. And all the reasons why we are here will still be the same. The compensation plan, the products, the system, and the culture. None of that has changed. None of that has changed. When we say bonuses in a compensation plan, that is simply a bonus. Our compensation plan has never changed. When people say there's changes to the compensation plan, I'm like, really? As far as I remember, it's a binary without breakage. You get to capture everything underneath you. It's 600 on one side. It's 300 on the other side. We have to go out. We have to recruit. But here's the thing. The game changed 7 years ago when social media became completely saturated with everybody selling network marketing or products or becoming affiliate marketers. And it changed. And the best companies and the most successful people hit rock bottom and ricocheted back up. And we are in this place right now where we are secured by lenders, people who understand the industry. We are over the hump. It's usually 10 to 15 years. If a company, and I remember when we were being coached on looking at companies, and the consultant that we were working with said, you do not even want to look at a company that is not at least 10 years old. At least. You want products that are consumable, used on a daily basis for any market, ages, baby to 100 plus, we have it. If you have all of those things in place, if you are global, if you have superior products, you will always succeed. And you guys, I will say, and I say this a lot, and I'm going to say this with complete and total humility. I do not need to work anymore. I don't need to be on this call. I don't need to be, Sharon throwing me a bone to help out the company. I don't even need to be building my business. I invested wisely. I did really well. I made a ton of money in network marketing, and I didn't spend it on, fancy cars. And I put 529s away from my kids. I wanted my kids to have college paid for. I lived below my means. And once in the blue moon, I bought some really great shoes and bags. Like, I didn't go crazy with the money that I was making. My life really didn't change. I was too busy to have my life really change. And I saved a lot of money and made some really great investments. And I made some really bad investments. But overall, I'm in a place where I'm not experiencing desperation. So it's very easy for me to step back and be very objective and very calculated about what I'm doing, what I'm attaching my name to, where I'm putting my reputation, and what I want going forward. And at the end of the day, I am on my knees giving thanks for what I have here. So much gratitude for this company. Through the hard times, through the good times, through all the stuff, every Monday I have gotten paid. And I am getting paid for the work that I have done about 2 years ago, which was nothing. I did nothing. My daughter really needed me. If you were on the call this morning, I actually told you the story about Victoria. My daughter needed me. I checked out for 2 years. I could care less if anybody ever bought another shake again. I didn't care. The only thing I cared about was my kid being mentally okay, physically and mentally okay, and she was not. And I had, because of the business I had built, I had the ability to take my foot completely off the gas, go on cruise control. And now what's happening is I'm getting paid years later on the work I didn't do. Is that Isagenix fault, or is that my choice? And here's the thing. Crabs all stay in this little bucket. And when a crab tries to climb out of the bucket, the other crabs are like, oh my gosh, let me go save the crab. And they all jump up and they try to bring the crab back down. When people don't want to take ownership and really just grind again, and you will, and you'll do it again in 10 years. And I'm telling you now, invest wisely and don't squander it and be smart. People don't want to go back and do it. They're like, well, I was promised I never had to work again. I don't know where that big fat lie came from. It is a business like any other business. It is e-commerce. And here's the scariest statistics. 90% of all consumer goods will be only through e-commerce, not through retail. It breaks my heart to know that the little pharmacy down the street is not going to be there anymore. Amazon has completely taken over the smaller boutiques, the department stores that are closing. More and more people are shopping online. When we did that one pager, we showed all of you how you are going to capitalize on the industries that are growing right now by the trillions. How do you capitalize on the biohacking industry or longevity or the wellness industry? By owning your own store? I did it. I had 2 gyms. I had 5 IV centers. I had a Medi Spa, all while I was building Isagenix. I had a coaching business. Guess what? During COVID, they came crashing down. I lost tons of money, millions of dollars in my IV business because I couldn't get nurses to work. if I did not have what I had built in Isagenix, I don't even know where I would be right now. And it's getting back that mindset. It's, Mark says it all the time. The most successful people in this world, and he's in the finance world, and it is brutal, the ups and downs and the businesses that are going over, and people, billionaires overnight, done with what is happening. And our business is still here. And I'll say to him, oh my gosh, like what a day. People are freaking out. You know, they got to get back to executive. And he's like, wait a minute, isn't that when 10 people have to get at least 2 to get started, to get the ball rolling, and then they have an opportunity to make like 7 figures a year? Yeah. So what's the problem? Exactly. And here is the trick. Most of us learned enough to make this much money right here. But we didn't learn enough. We haven't expanded enough. We didn't grow enough to know how to properly duplicate. And the money is in the duplication. It's in the repeat cycles. It's in the TBB down in that 4th PET. You will make way more money in the TBB than you will ever make in the ELB if you know how to build. But we don't really know. And that was one of the things that I said to Sharon. I want to teach and train people on leadership duplication. All of us can find 10 people to find 2 people. They're going to sponsor their mother and their husband, their sister and their best friend. They're going to find the 2 easy people. And it's just like a house of cards. It's just, you know, this top level with no depth. And I remember Jimmy Smith when I first came on board, and we went through 2 hurricanes. I can't even make up the stuff. It was like trees were falling in my yard. And I was like on the brink of divorce. And my ex-husband is like, get in the house. And I'm like, no, I'm signing her up. And he's like, you are a psycho. And I was just committed to my business and I just wanted to work. And I called Jimmy and I'm like, everybody's telling me to slow down. I don't want to slow down. I want an empire. I'm doing this for my kids. And he was like telling me all the stuff that I needed to do. And he said, be the best cycler. And the money is in the cycles. You have to build your cycles. Get your cycles to 20 or 30 or 40 or 60 a week. And people were it was the LIA, you know, everybody wanted to hurry up and get the points for the LIA and win the trip, but they weren't building the depth. And sitting in so many executive meetings on the corporate side, you guys, the amount of manipulation that we did to ourselves with the ELB was in excess of $28 million plus of people making people up to get paid $750, $1,000. So then why can't we have better trips? Why can't we? Because we're paying the wrong people. And I feel like, you know, the storm really came and it shook out and the loose leaves fell. And now we have these like oak trees, like thick, big branches in the dirt who are here to stay. And they want to know, how do I do this? What do I say? How do I duplicate? And it's really being honest with what this business entails. You will work hard. People will ghost you. People will judge you. You will be frustrated. It's simple. It's not easy. There is nothing easy about it. It is very simple. You don't need a degree. There's no nepotism. It doesn't matter who you know. It doesn't matter which leg you're on. I'm on the inside of an inside leg, and there's never been drop down from my upline, ever. Lynn was like, I sponsored you, babe. You're on your own. I want to keep up with you. There was not, I just owned my business. I got that ID number and I knew I had the right to own a virtual franchise with 0 overhead. I don't need to worry about the leaky ceiling. I don't need to worry about the nurse not showing up. I don't need to worry about the receptionist, you know, not coming into work. All the stuff that I had to worry about in my retail business is gone. The opportunity here is ripe. And as we are speaking, another amazing letter just came out from the DSA crushing this master MMR, whatever it's called, stupid thing that is a pyramid. And we knew that it was master rights. I don't even know what it's called because I haven't paid any attention to it because it didn't make sense. And as we are speaking, more and more companies are getting shut down because they are operating illegally. And when people say to you, my friend is making so much money at this company, I am going to tell you this, that company is probably, because I know the ones that are dangling the carrot while we're working, it's probably going to be shut down in the next 6 months. And we are not. Our doors are wide open. We are inviting people in to the most beautiful, loving, generous community on the planet. None of that has changed. So I just feel so good about where we are. I am so proud of the leadership. I mean, Sharon has given up her life in another country, moved here, got her kids in American schools to serve us, took it on the chin, working nonstop to give us every single thing we need. But we talk out of both sides of our mouth. We're like having this battle in our brain. I'm not. I'm so happy. I am so clear. I know what it's like to build. And I don't even call it rebuilding. I call it building from the place I am now, with all the knowledge I gained, with some amazing customers, with some incredible team members, with people who so many people coming back, so many people coming back. I've had top leaders in Mexico come back. I had a woman who left, she was in Canada, amazing human, all coming back saying, oh, I don't know why I left. Will you take me? And there's something to be said about that, you guys. So I really want everybody to think about right now their own, I always say in the coaching world, and I'm going to get really into this in the leadership part of Dallas. And I know a lot of people just went to Orlando and you went to Phoenix and you're doing your retreat with Lynn. Lynn and Michael are coming to Dallas. Lynn said, no, I wouldn't miss it. It's what I need. We all need that. It's why we go from event to event to event to event. COVID crushed us. It crushed our industry. Because we didn't have that. We need each other. We rely on each other. We have to lift each other up and protect your vision. It is the people around you. It is so incredibly insidious. When you start hearing something and you start to feel like that person is taking you out and they never mean it, they're just talking about whatever's worrying them. But you worry up. You go to your upline. You come to me. You can call me with any concern. You never steal somebody else's money, ever. Because half the stuff, by the time it gets back to us, I'm like, where are they even getting this stuff from? Where did this start? You gotta protect your mindset. We're humans. Jealousy and envy exists. I think it was Anne, I think you put up a beautiful post the other day about like lifting women up and raising other women, and women really, that's what we do. And men too, right? It's like, it's so easy to be judgmental. Mark has not had a break in weeks. He is traveling from city to city to city to city. I met him in Indiana on Friday. On Saturday, I was in Savannah. He's now been in 4 cities meeting his clients. She says, shaking hands and kissing babies. He said, Lisa, all I want to do is come home. I am so tired. He has a multi-billion-dollar management firm that he runs. He's still out there working. He's still out there doing what he doesn't want to do long after the feeling he said it in is gone. But we don't want to work like that. And you have to ask, like, what am I willing to give up to have what I don't have? And we have to make an adjustment. It's a correction. It's a moment in time. Our world is messed up. We're either part of that problem or we become the solution. This little boy is walking on the beach and there are starfish everywhere. How many of you have heard this story? Everywhere. It's low tide. All the starfish washed up to the sand. And he's walking, he's throwing the starfish back in the ocean one by one. And this old man sees him and he said, "Hey, little boy, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm saving the starfish." And he said, "You're crazy. Look at this beach. It's covered in starfish. You will never make a difference." And the little boy picked up a starfish and he threw it in the ocean and he said, "I made a difference for that one."
Mm.
This is what we do day in and day out. There are people on their knees right now begging for someone to hold them up, someone to tell them there is a way. There is a mom with 2 little kids in daycare who's leaving at 5:30 in the morning and getting home at night, can't even see straight, only wants to hold her babies, but they're in the crib, who's getting up and doing it again and again and again, who would do anything for this opportunity. We just have to go talk to those people. We have to be bold. We have to leave our ego about network marketing on the back burner. It is a legit business. I had that for so long. I'm like, oh, I got to tell people I'm a network marketer. And I got over it quickly. What are you willing to get over? What are you willing to give up right now? I don't know if you were on the call this morning, and forgive me for repeating myself, but I think it bears repeating. I wrote a post and some of you commented. I remember, Ann, you commented, some of you commented, and I was so excited. I'm like, I'm so happy. I'm so proud of these people. Like everything feels so good. And this guy ripped me apart. Some weird dude just posted like, oh, there's border issues and there's political issues and there's COVID and there's people dying and there's, migrants and there's all, and you're so happy. And I wanted to say, dude, man, I need to pick you up and throw you back in because I would save you. And what, I'm supposed to be angry and miserable and bitter because when I turn on the news, that's what I see? Or I'm supposed to say, thank you, God, for giving me this voice, this talent to go and make someone's life be better. It's a career. It is a business. It is simple, not easy. And I think we really forget that. We blame. We are blaming. You're blaming, you're justifying, or you're building. There's only 3 places in this business where you can be. I was in justifying for 2 years, and I had every right to be. My daughter needed me. I worked really hard to be able to have that money to stay home through all her stuff. And I was justified for it, right, wrong, or indifferent. It worked for me. I never blamed Isagenix for the ding I'm getting now on a Monday. I didn't work for 2 years. What did I expect was going to happen? It's just like when I worked my tail off, 17, 18-hour days. And then I received every award. You can't even see. It is covered in this office. The amount of lucite frames that I have given away to people and say, stare at this. I don't think there's an award I have not received. Everybody saw that and they're like, oh, her again? And you guys, it was like before your time. She's getting another one and another one and another one because they saw the results years later. Well, I'm experiencing my own results from years before. What were you doing last year? 2 years? Were you building like your life depended on it? Or was that when we were all sitting back going, when is this COVID thing going to be over? When's Isagenix going to do this? And we were slowly taking our foot off the gas, off the gas, off the gas, off the gas. It didn't happen overnight. And that's what happens in this business. So we really need to get in that mindset of complete and total ownership. It is such an empowering place to be when we can fully own our own results, good or bad. When I don't give my power to someone else and I own it, I'm empowered. How come Tristan and Stephanie right now are maxing out a business center and will be earning 7 figures in 2 years by September? It's working for them. It's working for Michael Bokart in Germany. You see it all the time. When you see that, you need to say, thank you so much for working the way that you're working. So you remind us of what is possible. Jessica, you did that for my team. When I completely checked out, you guys were growing. You were soaring. And all I kept saying is grateful to God that this team was going at the speed that they were because you gave all of us hope in a time when there really wasn't any. All of you were working. You were doing the do. You lifted other people up. So on all those days when you don't feel so good about yourself, remember you made such a difference for other people. You kept people's lights on. You put food on their table because you provided the stability that they needed to know that it was still working when we stopped working. And that's what we do for each other. That is one team. That is being united. That is being connected to corporate and the field. And I'm so grateful for Sharon for seeing this because she came to me and I was like, are you out of your mind? I don't want a job. I haven't worked in 22 years. It is the last thing I want to be doing. I could, go coach anywhere when I want to. I was getting tell you Mark was all the time, like this one wants you to go in his company and I was picking and choosing. It was nice. It was fun. It was like enough money to buy a cute little bag. And to take this on and this responsibility, I was like, well, why wouldn't I? I've already been judged. People will say whatever they're going to say. So many people think it should have been them. Whatever. It's not. It's me. So get over it because I'm doing it. Yeah. Right, Erica? Here I am. And I am hell-bent on getting this company to $1 billion because it's us. It's us. You can't just sit in the freaking boat. You gotta row. You can't just be there waiting for someone else to create your destiny, whether we feel like it or not. We have that opportunity here. So remember, you guys, 80%, some of you are so blessed. 80% of your business comes from customers. You're looking for the 20% while you have 80% of those people that you are servicing, that you are putting on your email blast or I do text blasting services. And every time we sign someone up, it is like 90 days that you are texting them almost every day. How you doing? It's a 2-second text. How are you doing? Are you good? How was your first cleanse day? How was yesterday? That's my morning. 15 minutes, I'm like done. I have a list of all my new customers and then I'm good to go. And then my phone's always going. It's when your phone stops dinging that you need to be a little bit nervous. So you want to create that momentum. We offer leverage, and that's the difference. Why is our business different than everything else that's being offered in the gig economy right now? Do you guys know that 50 to 60 million people are looking for something extra right now? 50 to 60 million people are actively seeking another gig in conjunction with what they're currently doing. And only 3% are in network marketing. They don't understand it. They don't know about it. And what we're not talking enough about is time leveraging. Yes, you can be an Uber driver, Uber Eats driver, or you can work part-time here, there, or wherever, but there is no leverageability. And this is what that offers. It's not recurring income for the rest of your life. That does not happen. You will always work. You will always work in this industry. You may not work in the season in which you're working now. It's cyclical. You put your foot all the way down on the gas and then you can coast, but you need to know when you need to put that foot down. But here's the hard part. It's usually when you don't want to do it. You're already like comfortable. I don't want to go back and, have to do that again. I lost to, if you're building to executive on consultants, it's never going to work. Go slower, getting to executive and build deeper. You'll create more cycles. You'll have sustainability. The reason why, even when, I didn't work for years and got the ding, I was still like, oh my gosh, it's still amazing money, was the depth. I didn't let people go quickly at all. I kept them very close to me. I made sure people knew how to get to director. When they got to director, are they teetering? Is it 4 and then they're 6 and they're going back? They're not there yet. They're not building depth. I had to work with the people underneath them. Rather than this race to just get it done, work and make sure that your people are properly plugged in. Go through, we're doing this in Dallas. We're going to do a deep dive in how to read those reports so you know where to look for those people. And motivation is like a shower. If you don't do another one, you start to stink. You need to constantly keep motivating. You have to be self-motivated like anything else. You can't wait. We can't be takers in this. Mark always says to me, people need to lead with the lending hand, the giving hand. People ask us all the time, can you help my kid get into this school? Do you know anybody here? They know we're connected in politics, and he's been a finance chair for 30 years. And, can you get my son this? And can you do this? And then when we ask, it's like crickets. Crickets. But we're always giving anyway. I'm always offering. I'm doing it anyway. And it's the same thing in our business, you guys. Keep doing it anyway. Show up big. And this is our time. And we have each other. There is no other community, none, zero, that exists like ours. None in any company. I'm still friends with a lot of people. I've been in the industry for 22 years. I've been on the stage as one of the most powerful women, and Eric Worre and the whole thing, and the books and the magazines and the whole thing. And I know so many people in this industry. There is no culture like ours. None. I feel so safe here. I feel we are protected. And it really is, the sky is the limit. Just get super clear on your goals and understand that we have to teach and train people coming to the gig economy. We have to teach them what leverageability means and why it is vitally important. And all it means is the days when you really can't, you don't need to worry because everybody else can. It doesn't mean that you can just totally check out and then it's like, my team isn't doing anything. Ouch. Nor should they. Then those are your customers that maybe found you people. They're not your team. They're your customers that maybe got to manager, but they're not leaders. They're earners. And there is a difference. Leaders are made, they're not born. And it's cultivating leadership. And it's asking somebody, what are you willing to give up to have what you don't? And when people say to me, I'm not giving up Netflix, I'm not giving up drinking, I'm not giving up this, I'm not pulling them. I just know. And I ask people, what is it that you're hoping to get? And I need to know if I'm serving you properly. If you tell me what you want and what you're willing to give for that, I'll know how to work with you, but I'm not going to pull you. And the more we pull people, and this happens a lot, you guys, if you're feeling exhausted, if you feel drained, if you feel frustrated, if you're feeling depleted, you're trying to make your customers into something they're not. And it just comes right back empowered, put the power back on me. I haven't found, or I was in a weird place. I haven't found the people on this plateau. I'm like kind of here. People like me and I'm nice and whatever. So they're going to buy some products, maybe share it, but they don't want what I want. So I need to elevate my thinking, my vision, my attitude, my everything. So when I go out and I'm talking to Jessica, who's online in front of me in Starbucks, belief has a sound. It has a sound. When we were all our best, what did that feel like in your body? Get in that state, listen to that music, get in that place, and then you pick up the phone and you say, no, we need to talk now. This can't wait. It's too big. 30 to 60 million people are looking for what I have. They don't know about it. They can find it through us. You have a network of people that I don't know. Someone's going to tap into that network. They could do it through you and you get compensated. And I go right to that one pager and I'll show you how you can compensate on all these areas that will be trillions of dollars when we get to a $330 billion business in the next 6 years, and you can capitalize on that, or somebody else will. But one way or the other, your network will be tapped. Would you like to know more? What day is better for you? Tuesday or Wednesday? It is a business. I need to sit down with you, carve out the time. We're going to pull it up, whether it's face-to-face or online. Set those appointments and be very bold, very bold. So I'm excited, Jess. I'm grateful. Glad that Jenny's on. I'm so grateful. Thank you for having me. Thank you for trusting me. We're just
You're amazing. Belief has a sound. I've got some great notes, but I will tell you, I think you're so right. Breathing so much belief across this company. I know that we have a good number of people that are going to see you in Dallas, and some people that are still just getting some messages, people looking at flights right now. It's important, a masterclass, but to be in your energy with your belief, the belief has a sound. And I think you're right that the 3% of people who are already part of the gig economy and into network marketing, 97% of people that understand the need for diversified income don't know what we have, and they're not here yet. That's pretty exciting to think about. So I appreciate you so much, Lisa. I know everybody else did. Let's go off mute and give her some absolute love.
Aw, you guys are the best. I love this team so much. I mean,
Thank
I like
you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
so
Thank you.
Thank you.